Welcome back, grade 12s. We are busy with the last question of our grade 12 provincial winter school session, and we are dealing with business operations as the main topic with quality of performance as our subtopic. Let's get started with the questions. Section C, question 6, quality of performance. If we look at our preamble, I'm just going to get my pointer ready. Remember that all the information in the block that is being highlighted now is known as a preamble, especially when we deal with question 6 and section C type questions. So a good management system includes the quality control and quality assurance of products. It is argued that general management, the financial function, and the human resources function play an important role in implementing total quality management. Continuous improvement to processes and systems as a TQM element has a great impact on businesses. TQM elements can assist businesses in reducing the cost of quality. Now, grade 12s, it's important to remember that the information in the preamble is starting you off and giving you an idea of the information that you are supposed to write about in your essay. It is merely a statement and not a story or a scenario, and so it's very important that you do not copy the information in this block as an introduction. If you do so, you will be resulted with 0 marks. If we look at the following animations, you will notice that the first sentence, a good management system includes the quality control and quality assurance of products, is also linked to the first bullet. This is to show you visually that the information in the preamble is actually a repetition of the bullets, or is actually very closely linked to the actual bullets of the essay. This again is why you do not rewrite the information from the preamble, because you are merely then copying down your bullets. So don't forget, do not rewrite the information from the preamble. If you look at our second bullet, it is linked to our second sentence in our preamble, and please take note that you must then make special mention of the general management function, the finance function, and the human resources function in terms of quality indicators for these functions. And then also, if you look at your third sentence and you look at your third bullet, these 2 points are closely linked. And if you look at your last bullet or your last sentence, TQM elements can assist in business or can assist businesses in reducing the cost of quality. You will see then that this is linked to the last bullet of the essay. Let's get started with the answers. Now remember, grade 12 is very important. The word introduction is required in your business studies essay. Even though you don't do this in a language paper, you must do this for the business studies paper so that you can obtain a mark for writing the word introduction. Very important, you must have information, otherwise or also known as content, underneath the word introduction. You are allowed to underline the word introduction, but very important, make sure that you can clearly indicate some content underneath the word introduction. Please also then make a space or leave a line open before you get started with your subheadings so that we can see clearly that this information is your introduction. Now, because this is a quality of performance long question, let's look at some possible points that we can make in our introduction that would get us some marks. Top management is ultimately responsible for quality of performance. That would be 1 or worth 1 mark. Senior executives need to be able to guide and direct all business functions to improve its quality performance. That would also result in 1 mark. Everyone employed in a business has a role to play in realizing the goal of quality performance, another mark, and continuous improvement to processes and systems will ensure quality products and services, another mark. Now learners, what is important for you to understand here is that an introduction is always worth a maximum of 2 marks. What is also important to note here is that you must have at least 2 bullets or 2 sentences indicated, and please be aware of the fact that each factual sentence or content sentence will then result in 1 mark being obtained. You can get a maximum of 2 marks for your introduction. Now here's a few notes or general reminders. Please do not rewrite the preamble because this will result in no marks. Please also avoid general introductions because you must look at the preamble and the bullets and base your introduction on the content that will be expanded on in your essay. Remember that only new, in other words, not seen in the preamble, content or facts will be marked. Please also note that I have indicated in the left-hand margin the letter L. This is indicated by the examiner or the teacher when we see the word introduction and when we also see information that is given to us from the learner underneath the word introduction. You will not receive the L if there is no content underneath the word introduction. If we look at our first bullet, your first bullet says explain quality indicators of the following business functions. Now remember, there must be sorry, I do apologize. It actually says outline the difference between the difference between quality control and quality assurance. My apologies there. So if we look at our verb, the verb is outline and you get or you are awarded with no split marks here. In other words, the marks are indicated at the end of the learner's response. So here I have tabulated the differences between quality control and quality assurance. You will notice that the difference is seen very clearly. There are 3 possible points you could make for quality control and 4 possible points that you could make for quality assurance. Please take note of the sub-max mark allocation that is at the bottom of the table, because this means that 2 bullets for quality control and 2 bullets for quality assurance is all that is required, and that is the maximum amount of points or marks that you can obtain for 2 points for quality control and 2 points or 2 marks, or sorry, 2 sentences for quality assurance. Please note that there is a max allocation for 8 marks for this question. Now again, outline being the cognitive verb means that we get our marks allocated at the end of our factual or content point. Now for quality control, inspection of the final product to ensure that it meets the required standards. Please make sure that you use the word inspection of final product or checking the final product, and please make mention of the word standards. Quality control also includes setting targets or measuring performance and taking corrective measures. Quality control also involves checking raw materials or employees or machinery or workmanship or products to ensure that high standards are maintained. So this is a very important part in the quality process within a business. Then we also get quality assurance. Now this is also an inspection process, but this one is carried out during and after the production process. So it's very important, learners, that you mention that it takes place during and after the production process, as opposed to only the inspection of the final product. Quality assurance also ensures that the required standards have been met at every stage of the process. Quality assurance also ensures that every process is aimed at getting the product right the first time. Now, usually learners tend to remember this point, getting the product right the first time. So please highlight that in your notes if you can. And also we make sure that we try to prevent mistakes with this process or defects or delays or shortcomings from happening again. Another last point there is no matching point for quality control, but quality assurance is focused on the building in of quality as opposed to checking for quality. Learners tend to remember this response as well. Now, an important note there is that it should be noted that quality control must first take place before quality assurance is done, as businesses must set and check quality of raw materials before the actual production is done. Quality assurance then rather focuses on the production processes, while quality control on the quality of the final product and corrective measures that must be done by businesses. So please take note of that point over there. If we look at our next bullet in our essay question, this is the explain question. Explain the quality indicators of the following business functions. You will see that they make specific mention of general management and financial function and the human resources function as well. So it's important that you make little subheadings, if we can call them that, and that you indicate the quality or mention the quality indicators for each of the functions. The general management function, if we look for quality within that function, we can say that if there is quality there, they would effectively be able to communicate a shared vision, mission, and values to their employees. Also, general management should be able to set direction, in other words, let the employees know where the business is going, and also be able to establish priorities for their business. Management should also be able to, if there is quality within the function, be able to develop, implement, or monitor effective strategic plans. And another point you could use is that they should ensure that all the departments or the business meet all their deadlines and targets. So this one is quite an important point to make for the general management function because they oversee the 7 other functions. There's a sub-max of 6 allocated here. In other words, 3 answers here should be sufficient for 6 marks. For the financial function, if we were looking for quality within that function, they would be able to obtain capital from where? From the most suitable or available or reliable sources. They would also be able to negotiate better interest rates in order to keep the financial costs down. If there were quality in the financial function, or if there was an indication of quality in the financial function, they would also be able to draw up accurate financial statements timeously and also regularly. They would also be able to analyze strategies to increase, I guess, the finances. I'm sorry, that point is a bit short there. The finances or the cash flow or the profit of the business. Then also, if we look at the human resources function, we can see that there are 5 bullets there. So remember that 3 would be able to give you the 6 marks, that is the sub-max that is indicated there. But the human resources function, if there was quality within this function, would be able to ensure fair and equitable selection processes. So we make sure that we hire everybody fairly and equitably. They would also be able to have fair remuneration packages that is aligned to the industry. In other words, paying people for the work that they are qualified for and paying them a fair salary. Offer performance incentives, and everybody loves a performance incentive, and this would be for staff to enhance productivity, because let's face it, staff really do become more productive when they receive incentives. And then also another important one for me, it's easy to remember, low rate of staff turnover. The word turnover means that people are leaving, and if it's a low rate of staff turnover, then there would be quality within the human resources function, because it would indicate that the human resources function is taking care of our staff in our business when they are having issues or if they have grievances or anything like that. But it's settled through the HR function, and so there's a low rate of staff turnover. Another quality indicator of the human resources function is that there is a good relationship with the employees, obviously between this function and as well as management with our employees. So that would all be indicating quality within the human resources function. It's important to note there that there's a max allocation of 18 marks. So learners, if you do know your quality indicators within your functions, you can really obtain quite a large chunk of your 32 marks for facts from this bullet alone. If we look at the third bullet, discuss the impact of continuous improvement to processes and systems as a TQM element on large businesses. Please know or note that the word impact would mean that we are looking for our positives and negatives, or our advantages and disadvantages of something. So in this case, the something is our continuous improvement to processes and systems as a TQM element on large businesses. Please learners, quality of performance is a large topic, so you must make sure that you know your 5 TQM elements. The positives and or advantages of the continuous improvement to processes and systems for a large business. There are many options in terms of answers. Now remember again, if we look at the word impact, you could answer positively, or you could answer negatively in terms of the negatives or disadvantages, or you could give positives and negatives as well. So a positive of this element on the large business is that they have the ability to afford specialized or skilled employees. They may be able to hire qualified trainers to train employees on a regular basis. Large businesses also have human resources department, or they have a human resource department, and this department will be dedicated to skills and training, or skills training and development. Second last point, human resources experts ensure that training programs are relevant. In other words, we make sure that we are training our staff with information that they really want to know, or giving them skills that they really need or want for the business. And this will be to increase customer satisfaction. And then also, large businesses could conduct skills audits to establish the competency or education levels of staff performing their work, which could affect, apologies for the error there, affect the quality of products and processes positively. So large businesses really have the ability to continuously improve their processes and systems, and a lot of the time it has to do with the fact that they have finances and they can make sure that their employees are trained and skilled enough. If we look at the negatives of this element, then remember that trained employees may leave because we spend so much money on them for better jobs after they gain more skills. Demotivates employees if they did not receive recognition for training. Poor communication systems in large businesses may prevent effective training from taking place. Employees who specialize in narrowly defined jobs may become frustrated or demotivated, and employees may not be aware of the level of competency they should meet to achieve their targets. There's a maximum allocation there of 10 marks. Then if we look at our last bullet, we look at our verb, our cognitive verb, which is recommend. This is a higher order verb, and this will give you no split marks, or marks will be awarded at the end of every point that is made by a learner. So here we have quite a few options. We have a max allocation of 10 marks, and remember that we have quite a few bullets here. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bullets, and that is a total of 18 marks available, but you would only need to give us 5 for 10 marks. So how does TQM reduce the cost of quality? Introducing quality circles to discuss ways of improving the quality of work or workmanship. We can schedule activities to eliminate duplication of tasks. Sharing responsibility for quality output amongst management and workers. Training employees at all levels so that everyone understands their roles in quality management. Developing work systems so that we empower our employees to find new ways of improving quality. We work closely with suppliers to improve the quality of raw materials and inputs. We improve communication about quality challenges and deviations so that everyone can learn from their experience. We can reduce the investment on expensive but ineffective inspection procedures in the production process, and also implement proactive maintenance programs for equipment or machinery to reduce or eliminate breakdowns. Now learners, again, remember with your double marks or your marks at the end, this is nice because if you remember your points, you get a nice 2 marks for each point that you can remember. Now there's an important message here on the side or note. The main reason why businesses implement TQM elements is so that they can reduce the cost of quality. So remember, we want to implement these TQM elements so that we actually do reduce how much it costs for us to produce a quality good or service. So the reason why businesses work closely with suppliers is to improve the quality of material, which is applicable to both cost reduction and quality within the purchasing function. Study this topic well, as it may be middle order and higher order questions in your papers, especially your exam papers. Now learners, you will see on the left hand side I have indicated an A, that is an analysis mark. This A is only given at the end or at the last subheading. In other words, the last bullet has been addressed underneath the preamble, and the learner has indicated this, so you have made your headings quite clear. And when we see the 4th subheading, this would exclude the introduction heading, so we would see then the 5th one, or that's why you see the number 6.5. Then we would indicate an A in the left margin, and that would be your first analysis mark. Then we would indicate the second A only after the examiner or the teacher has counted the amount of ticks that we have on the script. So once we get to 16 or more, we then indicate the second A. So it's important, learners, that we try to be as accurate as possible and that we study so that we can get as many marks as possible in our essay. So remember that the first A is for using the 4 bullets as your subheadings and addressing them and having content underneath them. And the second A is then for 16 to 32 facts or content marks or more. Remember that learners are able to, and this is possible, that you can exceed your 32 marks, but we can only give you a maximum of 32 marks for your essay. Now, if we look at our last, if you want to call it heading, we must, learners, have the word conclusion in our essay. And we must also have content underneath the word conclusion. Now, possible answers to this long question is that the quality of performance of business functions plays an important role in ensuring that customers are satisfied. When you purchase something, you purchase it and you expect a certain level of quality. So you would like your pair of shoes to perform and last for as long as possible. So remember that quality of performance and quality in general must, or in the functions especially, plays an important role in ensuring that customers are satisfied. The business will also be successful if they maintain quality of performance in their business functions and or operations. And remember that continuous improvement to processes and systems ensures that businesses keep abreast with the current business developments that are taking place out there. Now, remember that you get another L mark indicated in the left-hand margin, and that second L is a layout mark. That L will be indicated when we see the word conclusion and also see some content underneath the word conclusion. Remember here, it is a conclusion, so you only need one sentence and you will be awarded with 2 marks at the end of the sentence if the information has not been repeated. A conclusion is worth 2 marks, and that is the maximum amount that we can indicate for a conclusion. Now again, some general notes. Remember that one sentence is worth 2 marks. A conclusion wraps up your essay, and it is essential that you do not repeat facts here for the 2 additional marks. Try not to forget that you can use recent news and trends and incorporate it into your subheadings or your subheading paragraphs, and this will get you your originality marks for your essay, so that you can actually obtain the 40 out of 40 for your essay. Now, interestingly, I have Googled what is happening with South Africa's water quality. I just typed in the word quality in South Africa today, and it came up with this story that was published quite recently. South Africa's recently published Blue Drop 2022 report shows a significant decline in the country's water quality, with 23% of municipalities flagged as being at critical risk. Access to sufficient safe water is a basic right enshrined by South Africa's constitution. Now, this is obviously recent information. Anything that is within 6 to 12 months of being published is recent and trending, and if we can Google it, then we can definitely give you your originality marks. Another important thing, if you talk about water quality, and we do talk about sufficient or quality services being provided and all our functions working effectively and efficiently, then it's important to note that currently in the Eastern Cape, there is a issue with the water, and I think the dams are sitting at 12.3% in terms of the dams being filled. So there's a definite water crisis happening in the Eastern Cape. Please take note, learners, that you must at least familiarize yourself with something in the news that is trendy or newsworthy, and this is how you obtain your originality marks. Thank you, learners, and that's it for the Business Studies Winter School Paper 1 session. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.